Andrew Hastie has confirmed this afternoon that he won't be contesting the Liberal leadership as he doesn't have the numbers. In a statement, the member for Canning says over the past few weeks there has been speculation about the future leadership of the Liberal Party of Australia. I've previously stated that I would welcome the opportunity to serve my party and our country as leader of the Liberal Party. But having consulted with colleagues over the past week and respecting their honest feedback to me, it's clear that I do not have the support needed to become leader of the Liberal Party. On this basis, I wish to make it clear I will not be contesting the leadership of the Liberal Party. Australia faces massive issues. I have made it my single focus to campaign on critical issues, including immigration and energy, and I have no intention of stopping that. Right now, we have a Prime Minister who is leading us into a national decline where both our security and economic prosperity have been compromised. That compromise and failure of our Prime Minister is having a real impact on families right across Australia. I believe that those families and our country are best served by a strong coalition government, and I will work every day to make my party the very best version of itself. And Hastie isn't wrong. Recently, the headlines have been dominated by one thing on the Conservative side of politics: Liberal leadership tension, speculation, internal manoeuvring, names being floated, numbers being counted, and factions watching one another more closely than they're watching the government. And while leadership speculation is hardly new in Canberra, what is new is the context. The coalition is fractured. The Nationals are no longer formally part of the arrangement. Polling is soft. Voters are restless. And into that vacuum, minor parties and protest movements are growing louder. When an opposition is distracted by itself, it can't do the job voters expect it to do, and that is to hold the government to account. Liberal Senator Jane Hume stressed about the importance of a unified party.
The most important thing here is that there is no challenge to Susan Lee's leadership. No one has put their hand up and said, I am going to challenge. The Liberal opposition is at its very best when we are unified, when we're focused on the job at hand, which is holding a bad Labor government to account.
And Hume is right. Without unity, you simply cannot function as an effective opposition. The Liberal Party needs to show and convince Australians that it is a government in waiting, not a party still arguing with itself about what it stands for. The breakup with the Nationals has already inflicted real reputational damage. When your coalition partner walks away, voters notice. Senator Hume addressed that head-on this morning.
Presenting a credible alternative to make sure that at the next election, Australians can see that the Liberal Party is the choice that represents their dreams, their hopes and their aspirations. We are not doing that right now, quite clearly, starting with a dummy spit from our coalition partners or our former coalition partners in the Nationals, and right now we need to be focusing on the job at hand.
Well, opposition is about offering an alternative. It's about pressure testing government policy, and it's about asking hard questions on things like cost of living, national security, health, energy and the economy. Right now, the Albanese government isn't under any form of pressure, and that should concern everyone, regardless of where you sit politically. Former Labor Cabinet Minister Joel Fitzgibbon reiterated this point earlier today when speaking about the state of the economy.
Yeah, well, again, it's a good time not to have an opposition because the challenges for the government on the economic front are enormous. Look, people in my hometown aren't talking about what Donald Trump's doing or what's happening on, the post-Bondi front. They're still talking about cost of living.
When voters don't see a clear, credible alternative, they don't stay loyal, they drift. And support is rising for One Nation and Pauline Hanson in recent polling, a sign of growing frustration on the right. Just as importantly, there's another group emerging, voters who are disillusioned with the Liberals but unwilling to move to One Nation, people who don't feel represented and increasingly feel politically homeless. That's the cost of a fractured opposition. So the question for the Liberals isn't just who leads, because let's be clear, replacing the leader alone won't solve this. The Liberals need to remind themselves of their core values: free enterprise, smaller government, individual freedom and responsibility, family and community and economic management. Without these values, there can be no policies. Without policies and a shared direction, then all you've done is rearrange the furniture. Australians don't vote for chaos with a new face. There's a telling moment from Australian political history worth remembering here. When Sir Robert Menzies left office in 1966, he reflected not on power, but on structure. He said his greatest achievement wasn't an election win or a policy, it was building the Liberal Party and its enduring partnership with the Country Party. That perspective matters because it reminds us that leadership is temporary, but institutions, unity and trust are what we endure. And if the Liberal Party wants to rebuild that trust, it has to stop looking inward and start looking outward, because a democracy without a strong opposition is like a sporting match without a referee. Rules blur, standards slip, and eventually people stop believing the contest is fair. Today, Liberal leader Susan Lee announced her acting shadow cabinet and sent a very clear message to the Nationals. She's given leader David Littleproud 1 week to bring the coalition back together, or she'll permanently fill those vacant shadow roles with an all-Liberal front bench. At the end of the day, this isn't complicated. A divided opposition doesn't scare a government, it doesn't sharpen policy, and it certainly doesn't earn votes. Unity matters because accountability matters. And if the Liberals can't get their own house in order, then they're not holding the government to account. They're giving it a free pass. A strong opposition doesn't exist for politicians. It exists for you.